Well, it is always heartbreaking when a pet is lost or dies, but even more devastating when it happens in someone else's care, like an airline. You entrust the airline to get your cat or dog to your destination safely. But are there dangers in shipping your animal in cargo? Investigative reporter Elise Kirchner crunched the numbers to find out what airlines have had the most injured, dead, or just flat out disappearing animals. Elise.
Jessica, mining through hundreds of reports released to the Department of Transportation, we found some horrific incidents of animals killed or hurt while in transit, and discovered airlines can sometimes face few consequences.
Our pets become our best friends. They are part of the family, and losing them can be devastating. That's why Caleb's owner is so worried.
Treat my dog gently.
The problem is he's much more than this family can handle.
He's going to live where they can take him to the beach, and he's going to have an acre to live on.
So to give him a better life, he's about to be shipped as cargo on a flight from the Bay Area to Washington.
I'm just praying he will get there safely. It will all go smoothly. You're a good boy.
To find out, we placed this camera and temperature recorder inside his kennel to document Caleb's journey from his current owner's hands to the trust of an airline, then hopefully into the arms of his new family.
But I think a lot of owners think that if I can be flown from point A to point B and nothing happens to me, that probably the same will happen to my pet.
That's Dr. Chris Cowing, the president of the California Veterinary Medical Association. He says sending your pet through cargo should be your last resort.
I would hope airlines are smart enough to realize that if they put an animal, any animal, in a certain position, that they could lose that animal.
And we found it happens. Going through monthly air travel consumer reports from the Department of Transportation dating back to 2007, the investigative unit discovered more than 300 animals have died, been injured, or gone missing. Most never to be found, all on the airline's watch. But we don't know how many animals are transported. By law, airlines only have to disclose if a pet is hurt, lost, or dies during a trip. Delta saw the most incidents, followed by Alaska, American Airlines, Continental, and United Airlines. One of those incidents on United involved a dog named Bam Bam.
His ticket was twice what mine was.
Michael Jarboe paid $650 to have Bam Bam fly from Miami to San Francisco on United's Pet Safe program.
They guarantee you that your pet will always be in acclimated surroundings.
But he says during a layover in Houston, he saw his dog sitting on the tarmac on a luggage cart.
He spent almost 4 hours in that plastic kennel in conditions well above 85 degrees.
Just after touching down at SFO, Jarboe was given the news.
And he said, "I'm sorry, he didn't make it."
The airlines told him Bam Bam's heart gave out. His death, unrelated to how United handled him. For his loss, United gave Jarboe $1,000 in travel vouchers.
If you or I would do this, we could be criminally prosecuted for that.
We examined hundreds of reports released to the DOT and found government oversight varies. Last year, 2 pets were accidentally loaded in a baggage bin with a container of dry ice. Both died. In response, Delta reviewed its training procedures.
The airlines are not being forced to take responsibility.
Mary Beth Melchior launched a Facebook page to help find a cat named Jack. When an American Airlines clerk dropped his kennel, Jack went missing. 2 months later, he fell through an airport ceiling. So sick, he had to be euthanized. Today, the DOT still lists Jack as lost.
The airlines do not treat your animal any differently than they treat any other luggage.
Airlines for America, a trade group representing the majority of airlines, told us the transportation of all passengers, including pets, remains the airline's #1 priority, and airlines adhere to all federal regulations. And remember Caleb? We found him mostly resting alongside his bone. Temperatures ranged from 48 to 72 degrees. He made it safely and is now enjoying his new home. As far as Michael Jarboe,
He was my best friend.
despite a new puppy that he says United paid $3,500 for, nothing will replace his dog. His advice about putting your animal in cargo?
Don't fly. Don't fly.
The USDA is still investigating to see if United will receive any civil penalties in Bam Bam's death. That's the regulatory agency that oversees the transport of animals on commercial airlines. Now, we did request interviews with all the airlines mentioned in our report. Every single one declined. For more information on pet travel, including some of the most common causes of illness or death in transit, go to our website, nbcbayarea.com. Elise Kirshner, NBC Bay Area News.
The investigative unit has discovered airlines don't have to report every time an animal dies, gets hurt, or disappears.
I-Team reporter Elise Kirchner dug up some startling statistics on pet travel, and she joins us now with a loophole in the law that you found, Elise.
Yeah, Jessica, pet owners say this current policy allows airlines to hide how often tragedies happen in transit. We also discovered which airlines are getting cited the most for failing to properly take care of animals.
There's no resolution. They're just gone.
Hundreds of animals killed, injured, or vanished, all on the airline's watch.
And he said, I'm sorry he didn't make it.
In February, the investigative unit uncovered that more than 300 animals have died, been hurt, or disappeared, most never to be found. Now, our investigation has other pet owners coming forward, like Troy Stroud.
For me and the other people who've lost animals this way, you never get to know what happened.
For 2 years, Stroud searched for Jessie, a show dog that cost him $5,000 and more than $500 to ship on Continental Airlines from LAX to Detroit, Michigan. When the dog arrived, he was told Jessie didn't make it.
Yeah, he said, well, how's it going? And the guy said, well, better than you, your dog's dead.
His 40-pound kennel damaged and the bolts missing. But we couldn't find a single record of what happened to Jessie in any of these reports from the Department of Transportation.
It's a huge loophole.
That's because Continental, now part of United Airlines, wasn't required to report Jessie's death. Under the DOT's current policy, the dog was being transported without an owner. So Jessie was just considered cargo.
The airline views that time he's in transit as in between owners.
They're making a lot of money shipping animals.
Absolutely.
Gay O'Brien is the former president of the International Pet and Animal Transportation Association and runs an animal transportation company in Foster City. She believes part of the issue is that airline handlers need more education.
With the airlines changing and moving and growing and shrinking, they also contract out to employees. So they've got many employees, and I think the training of their employees is key.
And that may very well be the case. We discovered the USDA issued more than 500 citations since 2007 to airlines for failing to meet requirements of the Animal Welfare Act. Delta received the most, followed by Continental and American Airlines. As for what happened to Jessie, Stroud reported the incident to the USDA. The airline was cited for failing to properly take care of Jessie in transit and fined $17,000. But if he didn't report it, the government may have never known.
I think they have to be held accountable. There's more accountability for if they lose your luggage.
And we did reach out to United Airlines to comment on what happened to Jessie. No one responded. The DOT is currently considering a new policy that would require airlines to report all incidents. Airlines for America, an industry trade group, is against that proposal. They say carriers already provide enough information. It's unclear if or when the change will happen. Elise Kirshner, NBC Bay Area News.
It's a big business, but it's also a big risk. Putting your pets on a flight can be deadly. It's a problem we exposed nearly a year ago.
Now, investigative reporter Elise Kirchner joins us with another incident that a pet owner is sharing for the first time publicly. And it's a story she was almost not even allowed to tell, Elise.
No, and that's because the airline involved asked her to sign a non-disclosure agreement. But pet owner Janet Sinclair felt the public needed to know. We should warn viewers the details and images are graphic. She claims her animals were kicked, left out in extreme heat, and nearly died. And she documented the alleged abuse.
They offload Sedona, and I watched this man kick her crate 6 times. Kick it, kick it, kick it, until it's under the wing of the plane.
It was July, the dead of summer. Relocating from California to Boston, Janet Sinclair says she chose to fly on United Airlines because of its Pet Safe program. According to the airline's website, the program ensures pets receive personal handling in climate-controlled vehicles and never will be exposed to temperatures greater than 85 degrees for more than 45 minutes.
They assured me that my animals would get a comfort stop, a safety stop in Houston that I paid extra for.
Extra so that her dog Sedona and cat Alika could have a break from flying and stay healthy. Before the trip, Sinclair says her pets were examined by a vet and given a clean bill of health. But once in Houston, she saw this. The animal's crate sitting out on the tarmac in 90-plus degree heat. From the plane, she pulled out her cell phone and began periodically recording.
It's 4:06. The animals are still sitting on the tarmac as this man is about to load luggage. It's 4:25. That's the fuel truck. 4:58. They're having air conditioning troubles and they had issues with the seatbelts. Doors are still open to cargo. At 4:58, we still sit here.
Those problems on board caused more delays. 3 hours after landing in Houston, Sinclair says she finally boarded another plane for Boston. But once again, there under the wing were Sedona and Alika.
I said to the flight attendant, we need to get my animals off that tarmac. They're not supposed to be on the tarmac. They're supposed to be in an air-conditioned van.
When they touched down in Boston, Sinclair says Alika was severely dehydrated and Sedona was barely alive.
I am so sorry. Please forgive me. And Sedona's entire crate was filled with blood, feces, urine. Sedona was in full heat stroke. All of her blankets were filled with blood. She was urinating and defecating blood. She was dying, literally right in front of me.
Her dog spent 3 days in the intensive care unit. Medical records show Sedona suffered a heat stroke, blood clotting, and a urinary tract infection, problems she suffered during her United Airlines flight. The cost? Nearly $3,000. Sinclair wanted that money back. In this letter, United argued the animal had a pre-existing health condition. Still, the airline agreed to pay if she remained silent. The investigative unit requested an interview with United. The airline declined and released this statement, in part saying, "We regret that Sedona did not have a good experience. We offered to compensate Miss Sinclair by fully reimbursing her vet bill. But unfortunately, she declined to accept the terms of the agreement."
I mean, the only reason I can do this interview is because I didn't sign that, and I won't sign that.
And she's even taken her frustration to social media. Within 24 hours of launching this Facebook page, thousands began supporting her cause.
I still want to be reimbursed, but I'm not going to be quiet.
He spent almost 4 hours in that plastic kennel in conditions well above 85 degrees.
In the last year, the investigative unit has talked to other pet owners who've lost animals and uncovered that more than 300 pets have died, been injured, or gone missing in the care of airlines.
You have to go public. You owe it to travelers, to passengers, to pets.
Kelly E. Carter is the president of the JetSetPets.com and a best-selling author on pet travel. She says non-disclosure agreements are common, but more importantly, shipping pets can be a gamble.
Really think about it long and hard. Is it worth it for me to check my family member has baggage?
Who's a pretty girl?
Today, Sedona and Alika are settling into their new home. Still, Janet Sinclair is waiting for the airline to take responsibility.
It cost me $2,700 to save my animal's life. For God's sakes, reimburse me and apologize.
Now Sinclair was able to get United to reimburse her the nearly $700 she paid to ship her animals. Meanwhile, by law, within 45 days of an incident, airlines are required to report when a pet is hurt, lost, or dies during a trip. We checked the Department of Transportation's website, and so far, it hasn't been posted. We also discovered that it's common practice for United to require that a pet owner who files a claim sign a confidentiality agreement. Roz, Jess, bottom line, if you're going to ship your pet, know that there are risks.
Unnerving for all of us pet owners. Thank you.